How's it going? Fox back again. That what I was playing you is what we're going to be going over today. I had a request from somebody on my Facebook page a couple of weeks ago to try and recreate a specific progressive trance bass with Sylenth. Now I couldn't get close enough for it to warrant me to do a tutorial on it, if I'm honest. But I went off on a tangent and ended up making this sort of three-layered progressive trance bass. So I thought I would share this as a free Ableton project file. Download in the description. I'll remove everything that's not Ableton, so you'll get all three of these Sylenth patches all EQ'd together. So I'm going to talk you through it step by step. I say there is three parts. This section, the first synth, I've called the main bass because it's like the subby, more lower part of the sound. Nothing to it. This one shouldn't take too long to recreate at all. Once we've made all three patches, I'll talk about the EQing that I've got. So this first one, we've got 8 voices. I need to initialize this actually. So yeah, we've got 8 voices on a saw wave as it comes as standard. I'm pitched it down 2 octaves. The notes in the MIDI clip are on F#2, if you're wondering. You will get these obviously inside the project file. Keep the reed trigger on, stereo down to 0, detune, push it up to about 2.7, phases on 0, volume on full. We're going to create a plucky sort of envelope with the main attack envelope. Important thing is the one between 0.8 and 1 amp release to make sure that we don't get any clicks overlapping. We have one layer of one voice of a sine wave on oscillator 2. Keep the octave on 0, stereo on full, detune on 0, phase, volume. Keep the reed trigger on, so just literally one voice of a sine wave. We're then going to distort it using the foldback distortion. The amount was around about 1.9 and the dry wet about 20%. We're then going to EQ it. Inside Sylenth, we're going to boost the bass to around about 8.5 decibels. The bass frequency we're going to push around to about 360 Hz, just warming up the mids. Treble volume around about 10 dB, 10 or 11, and then we're going to push this back to about 680. So one's aimed at 400, one's aimed at 680. Mids, high mids, just boosting that sort of part of the sound. Real gritty sort of bass line. The way we get the pluck is by introducing a low pass filter. Pull this round to 2.9 Hz as a starting point. Bit of resonance, bit of drive, and then we're going to use mod envelope 1 to control the cutoff of A. I'm going to create this classic sort of plucky envelope. Dial the destination round. That's it, nothing to it, so that's the basic part. We'll do the EQing as we go along actually. So I've got a bit of compression. Nothing, just turned it on, pulled it down till it bit. I've got about a dB of gain reduction. I've got a utility and then I've set the width to 0. Because we have got a bit of detuning and this was taking part of the sub part of the sound. Doesn't make a hell of a difference, but it does just sort of push everything towards the centre. This EQ shape is just to get everything out of the way of the other patches that we're going to make in a minute. So that one is really straightforward. I believed I called it progressive body is what I called it. So it's the main body, plucky, classic sort of body of a trance bass. The next one, this one was real fun to make. I had some fun. Believe it or not, this one has just been made using a noise source. That is it. So, excuse me. There's 2 layers on this. I'll explain why to that once we've made the patch. So this one, it's a real metallic. It's got a real metallic, distorted feel to it. If I boost the volume just while we're making this patch, you can hear that chorus swishing it around. So that's just main part of this is just the white noise doing all the sound. There's 8 voices of this real thin pulse, but it's that high, it's just like giving a little bit of zing. So yeah, we are going to go ahead and initialize this. This one is like the mid parts of the sound, although it is quite high. We're going to solo the other layer. Not solo, mute. So yeah, 1 voice of a white noise source. Keep it on retrigger, doesn't make any difference. Stereo on 0, again, doesn't make any difference. The detune, the phase, doesn't make any difference to white noise. We're going to make a classic plucky sort of envelope again, just to get us started. So it's almost like a white noise hit. Then say we're going to have 8 voices of a Q pulse. This is going to be +3. Detune. So it smears it that much it almost makes it into another white noise source. Chorus and EQ will do it at the end because that really does make the sound. Distortion we didn't use, so we haven't got to worry about that. LFO again. Tried to do an LFO on the panning, but it didn't need it. I got all the movement that I wanted from the chorus. So how we get that zingy sort of sound on this one is by having a bandpass filter. Change it to a 12 dB slope. If it's on 24, it doesn't let enough through. You really can't get the sound that you wanted. Tiny bit of resonance, quite a bit of drive. Just making it sound more like a white noise source. We're going to push the cutoff of the master filter out slightly. Click warm drive on, and then we're going to use mod envelope again, mod envelope 1 to control cutoff of A. This time we're going to do it negative, and we're going to use the attack to control how long it takes us. Destination amount of about -7. Sustain on full. Now it's the attack. Giving us that real fast sweep. You're thinking doesn't sound like much at the minute, it's just like a white noisy sort of pulse. It really is the chorus that makes this. So that's it for the basic sound design of the patch. The EQ as well has a lot to do with this. So the bass, we're going to turn the bass volume to 0 and have the frequency around about 63 Hertz. The treble to 0. I should perhaps turned it on actually before I started modulating anything. So bass frequency to 0, bass volume, frequency about 53, treble on 0, this one round to about 669, 690, something like that. Just dulling it down, change it to a 2-pole. So yeah, still nothing like the sound that we had. Now this is where it comes into play, the chorus. Just creating that delay line. We want no rate, depth, or the slowest rate possible, so it's a very slow rate of modulation. Dual mode is on. Feedback is going to be quite high. This is going to give us that metallic feel. The width on full. Pull the dry wet down slightly. There you have it. It's mainly the white noise source doing everything. It's the delayed chorus signal and the feedback inside the chorus that gives it that metallic feel. Easy peasy. I called this one progressive metal. So you'll be getting all these presets inside the project file. Oh, there's a delay on that one. We'll turn the delay off for now. I don't think I used it. Increase the volume a bit, mix it with the main one. Right, why I split these into two separate ones, I just grouped them together. I pan 135 to the left, 135 to the right, just giving us a bit of extra stereo field. Both of them together. You've got the main bass going down the middle, and these sort of not perfectly all the way to the right, just sort of off centre a bit, filling the sound out a bit. The last sound we're going to be going over, I've called it a zap, for the simple reason that it is a zap sound that I've made. This one's quite a bit involved. There's some pitch modulation and some distortion modulation as well. So we're going to go ahead and initialize this. Oh, the EQing on the What's It one I should have spoke about. It's real straightforward. We've moved it out the way of the bass frequency, so I've got a real slight slope going from 100 Hz to 200 Hz, just pushing everything out the way. This side chain is not in use because we've done the side chaining on the group. Again, a bit of compression. It's not even biting the compressor on the mid part, so that was it. Just real basic EQing, just giving everything its own space with the panning, and then moving the mid part of the sound out of the way of the bass. So the zap, square wave, 5 voices unison. Uncheck the reed trigger, no detune, pull the stereo down because it's still taking care of the bass patch. I wanted this to mix with the sub part. Down 2 octaves. This again is on F#1, so the MIDI notes in this part were an octave down compared to the main body of the sound. And then down another 7 semitones. Really very quite low. Create a pluck again. Tiny bit of release to stop any clicking. We then want 1 voice of a sine wave. Keep the reed trigger on. Pitch this down 1 octave. Stereo on full for this. I used a bandpass filter for this again, interestingly enough. Bandpass filter. Kept this one quite steep this time. Pull the cutoff all the way down. Quite a bit of resonance to help emphasise the zap. A bit of drive. We're going to use mod envelope 2 to control the cutoff of A. Same sort of real fast pluck. It's already giving us a bit of squelch. How we get the zap is the pitch modulation. So it's virtually the same envelope as we had on mod envelope 2, just with a much quicker decay. And then we're going to set this to modulate the pitch of A. So it's going to push the pitch up and then come back down again very quickly. We want it on full, so it's pushing it around a couple of octaves or something like that. If you want a longer zap, push the decay out. I had it on around about 1.7. I also use this real plucky envelope to do the distortion amount, about 6.67, and the distortion was fold back again. It tends to work the best when you're making these sort of trance basses. Turn it on. Starting point for the amount around about 3.5, and a dry wet on 67%. So the distortion just helps emphasise the pitch modulation and the sweeping of the bandpass filter. EQ is the only other effect I used. I boosted the bass frequency a fair bit, aimed it around about 2,500 Hz, so low mids. Pulled the treble down and cut around about 720. Made it a lot more hollow sounding. There you have it. I called this preset Progressive Punch. Again, it's up to you whether you want more of a zap or more of a click. That's virtually done. I say the zap EQing again, moving it out the way of the lows and emphasising a 1K mark, bit of compression again. That's all I did. No panning on this one. Let's delete these other layers now. We'll talk about the EQing we've got on the group. We'll turn everything off. We'll introduce it as it comes. So, got a glue compressor just to bring everything together. I've got quite a slow attack and fast release. About 1 dB of makeup gain, ratio 4:1. This EQ is going to emphasise the mid part of the sound. Just boosting at 200 Hz. The saturator is aimed at 521 Hz, so proper mid section or high mids. Just bringing out the higher part of the main bass. The compressor is just some basic sidechain compression to the kick. And if we bring the kick back in, turn the volume of the zap down slightly. Let's try some delay for the chorus on ascend. Let's drag the sidechain compressor onto the delay. Let's delete that delay and let's use the ping pong delay. Put it before. Adds a bit more stereo feel to it. That's got to be on full wet actually, hasn't it? There you have it, a layered progressive trance bass. I had a lot of fun making this. Not something I've done for ages, making any trancey sort of sounds, but he specifically asked me to use Sylenth, so I thought I might as well show it to you. As I said, this project file is available in the description. Grab it, pick it to bits, use the presets if you like. But for now, as always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, follow me on Facebook, Sound Design Tutorials. Cheers.